Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Uh, Thank you for watching this video. I hope since you clicked on this, you're interested in um, reading and hearing what I have to say about getting back into reading. Um, I think it's really as simple as just picking up a book and starting. Um, but given that we are so inundated with technology and screens and content, all day content, all the time, it's it's bombarding us from every angle all the time. It's hard, much harder, to just pick up a book and read and stay focused and that sort of thing. So what I'm trying to accomplish, I guess, with this video, and I've been thinking about this topic for quite some time, uh, is that I just want to encourage you. I haven't watched the first video I published on this channel in a long time. Um, but I think the ultimate takeaway from that was that I'm glad I started reading again. And fast forward several months since I made that, several more books, plenty more books that I've read, and the booktube journey that I've been on. It's been it's just been a great experience getting to interact with people about books again. I went to school for creative writing. I spent several years writing short stories and poetry, studying works of fiction and nonfiction and everything in between. And I stopped reading there for a while. Um, Life stuff, was happening, and I lost kind of my passion for reading for several different reasons. But um, I think one of the biggest is I just didn't pick up books anymore. The effort of reading was no longer there. I lost my fire for it, and that was because I just stopped picking up books and reading. So, rule number one to get back into reading is just pick up the book and do it. I know it's stupid. I know that sounds, you're just like, don't patronize me, but truly, if you're sitting there right now watching me talk about this and you have this desire in yourself to become a reader again and to put down the phone and watch less TV or consume less content or get off TikTok or whatever, put the phone down and try it. It'll be difficult, especially if you haven't been a reader for a while. I can attest to when I started picking up books again. One of the first books I read was The Long Afternoon of Earth, or Hot House, by Brian Aldiss. Uh, I was thrown into my this real fire for science fiction after I discovered a few channels on YouTube that really just um, became this hobby for me. Uh, and this was one of the first books I found at a bookstore. It's 192 pages. It's not a science fiction book that I think is the easiest to start out with, but it's not the hardest. And this was the first book that I read after a long hiatus, if you will, from reading. Um, I would read The Hobbit every now and again. I would read Harry Potter's now and again, and sometimes would pick up a book and be reminded that I truly love literature and the discussion of ideas in books. And after you finish a book with somebody else who's read the book, it's just a beautiful thing. But until I just picked this book up and started reading it, I was a I was kind of a poser reader, you know. I acted like I read books, I acted like I cared about it, and I wasn't challenging myself in any way. And that, I think, is maybe number two uh, in rules, or whatever I'm going to call this video. Try to challenge yourself. Be okay embracing the somewhat uncomfortability of reading. You will find, I think, especially early on in your kind of journey back to reading, that your brain gets tired. It's not, uh, if you're consuming any kind of content on a screen, or you work on a computer or anything like that, your eyes and your mind and the things that that your brain has to do to read a book, um, those muscles aren't being flexed when you're watching TV or playing video games. Really, you're kind of consuming the content as opposed to engaging with it. Reading is an engagement with what is on the page. You have to try to focus on it, and that is hard for us nowadays. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we especially here in America, uh, our, our our kids can't read as well as they used to be able to. Is we've got all these other things coming at us from ads to TV to just to apps to everything. I'm not sitting here with this boomer take of you know put the phone down and pick up your book, but that's kind of what I just said. I found, and I'm not trying to tap myself on the back for any of it, but I found that removing apps of social media from my phone, um, cutting the cord on Netflix and a lot of streaming services, and just putting my head down into a book for a while and just challenging myself to read has been so good for my mental health, so good for my um, creativity and imagination. I think as adults, sometimes we feel like it's for some reason you can't do that as an adult. That's only allowed for kids. No, it's a lot of fun to go off into your own world in a book and experience something that can't happen here. In reality, it's fun to, using this example again, to go into a far distant future where the sun is dying and plant life has taken over, and human beings are these little sprite creatures, and everything is dangerous, and it's just like that is not going to happen in real life, at least not in our time. And so to indulge a little bit in the fantastic and the the imagination of somebody is a worthwhile experience, I think. And forgive me if I'm coming across preachy or you know um, high and mighty in this. I really, this is meant to be an encouragement. I, I, I said rules for like getting back into reading, but ultimately these are just encouragements and just tips from somebody who over the last probably 18 months or so, 2 years or so, has changed their way of engaging with books. I went from not reading to starting a YouTube channel, and I have hundreds of books that I'm super eager to read. In fact, you know, I'll use another one as an example. I'm in the middle of reading the Book of the New Sun, which many of you are probably familiar with. And it's a dense, confusing read, and I'm having to work hard at this book. It is not an easy read. Uh, that's been way more enjoyable for me personally than watching the newest show on whatever streaming services come out. I'm not here to discount other people's hobbies and what they enjoy, but I just have found that there is it adds little, very little to my life, if anything, when I sit and watch a show or even play video, but especially play video games by myself. That's I only play video games with my friends when we find the time, because other than that, I just find that those activities I leave them and I just feel like that brain fog. And I know most of you guys know what I'm talking about. It sort of feels like you just kind of wasted some time and you just move the clock forward a little bit. You know, the little hand on the clock went around a couple times, and now it's time to go to bed. Repeat, rinse, repeat the next day. And I think that I'll probably get off this point because I feel like now I'm talking about less about reading and more about like what you choose to do with your time. But uh, again, this has been on my heart and on my mind a lot with uh, friends of mine who have been interested in reading um, more, and friends who, like me and Luke, have been doing all these book hauls together and talking about books we're both reading, whether we are each reading them at the same time or reading separate books, and it is one of the most enjoyable things in my life currently. And that's another, that's number three, I suppose. Find friends or people in your area who also like to read. Chances are those relationships and friendships will be beneficial to your life. Me and some of my closest friends love to read, and it enhances, I think, our ability to understand the world, to unpack difficult conversations, to try um, to just have fun sometimes. I mean, me and Luke read Red Rising. That's hard to say, uh, and that was a total read for fun, and we had a blast reading it. It's not the literary, peak that we sometimes are chasing for. I digress, but uh, it was just a fun thing. We talked about it. I shared it with my sister in law, and have taught it's spread. My mom read Dandelion Wine after I read it not too long ago, and that was a really fun experience. Point being, there are people in your life who might also feel the same way as you and want to become a reader. Talk to them about their books they're interested in, and you know explore that friendship. Go to your local library. I'm sure there's programs and things that people love to talk about books, and I think we just need more of that. We're too isolated in our communities these days, and there's not as much of that going on. And so go out in the world, go to your local bookshops and talk to people, engage with other people, ask them about their favorite books and about, you know, anything book related. It really does make the experience richer. Um, and forgive me, I don't know how long I've been talking, so if you are bored to death by this, I apologize. But if you're bored to death by this, you've already clicked off the video, so I don't care. Um, One thing that I think maybe am I on four or five? I lost track. Another thing that I would add as a tip is read what you like, read what you're interested in. My friend Luke recently told one of our other friends, Will, this just in encouragement of, you know, he was wanting to get back into reading as well. And that resonated with me because too often I think people think they need to read this or that, and they're influenced by other people's or the world's opinion of stories and of books and what's popular and what's yada yada. You can get all messed up into reading the wrong book, and that's, I guess that's the wrong way to put it. You can get messed up into that trying a book that you don't really have any interested in, but you want to become a reader. So you try out the new bestseller that you think it fizzles out and you don't like it. Just go find something that you like to read. Um, and I know that's way easier said than done, but like, what are you interested in? Are you interested in just general fiction? That's a huge genre, but I'm sure you could find different subgenres within that. Science fiction. That's what I've primarily been diving into in the last year and a half, 2 years. Uh, Fantasy, horror, crime, western. They have everything. You can read poetry. You can read nonfiction. You can read history. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but go after something that you think you're going to like. And I'm not very good at this. I always finish books, even if I don't really like them. So you can give yourself permission to try a book and not like it and set it down for a while. Maybe you'll come back to it, but set it down for a while, move on to something else. Read what you enjoy and let it be a comfort to you, a fun, enjoying hobby to you. Just like that TV show is, or just like that other hobby, video games or art that it is for you, let it enhance your life and not become a chore. That's the quickest way to get burned out in reading, is just making it a chore. I've had those moments the last several months, wanting to read something for BookTube, and truly that being the reason I want to read it is it's like, well, this book, I'm really interested in hearing what people have to say about this. I better get it done and try to get through it. And I don't. It sounds like I don't even enjoy what I'm doing on here, but I truly do. It's just when you turn anything into a chore or a checklist, it changes the way you're going about it. If you treat it as a hobby and as a passion, a love, it you're going to engage with it differently. Look forward to doing it differently. I'll segue into, I guess, the reading experience and just some tips I have on the actual physical reading of a book when you sit down and do it. And then I'll probably end the video because I don't want to make this too long and too boring. But number one, I would say find a comfortable place to read. This is the reading chair that I use a lot. I don't like to read in bed usually or anywhere else because I'll fall asleep or I won't. It's just not as comfortable. So I sit in this chair most of the time. I have a lamp next to me. I have a reading light that is wonderful that goes around my neck that I use when it gets dark because that's when you use lights. I have kind of created a little bit of ambiance, whatever the word is, in my room here. That is, I'm surrounded by books, but I have my blanket and some pillows, and I'm comfortable. I have a blue like ring light kind of over there that kind of sets the nice comfortable mood. A lot of times I will make a cup of coffee. I'll set it right here. It makes me just feel like I'm in the mood for reading. So find a space that you can settle into a book in. If you're reading, if you're really busy, you're a parent of three. It's safe to say it's going to be harder for you to do that than other people. When I'm able to find the time and the quiet, I this is how I do it, and I've just found this place works for me. Another thing that I think this could be a little bit potentially controversial for those of you who are more purist than me. I like to read with headphones in with like a playlist going. I don't listen to music. I listen to kind of soundscapes, if you will, that just sort of focus my mind and kind of keep the um, whether it's sound going on inside of your home or wherever you're reading, or when you sit in the quiet. Right now, I'm sitting in quiet. Nothing's happening in this house. Sometimes silence is pretty loud and it's distracting. And maybe that's not normal. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Don't diagnose me. Uh, Point being that headphones with some playlists that I will link down below. Um, there's some specific ones I've found that just really set the mood for me, and for lack of a better way of putting it, I don't want this to come across like I'm real like it's weird. It gives me a comfortable environment to read in and focus in. Last night I sometimes I really enjoy the quiet nights where I everybody goes to bed and at like 10 o'clock I'm done watching the football game and I'll grab a cup of coffee and it'll keep me up a couple hours and I'll just dive into a book and I'll read for 2 hours straight and I won't even think about it. And it's a beautiful, relaxing solitude that's nice. Um, that was done in this reading chair with I wasn't reading Book of the New Sun. I was reading I don't want to tell you about this one yet, but for whatever. False Dawn by Chelsea Quinn Yarborough. And I sat here for 2 hours with a cup of coffee and I when I got ready to go to bed, I shut my book. I went right to bed. It helped me sleep better. I think that's something else I've noticed when I turn off my screens and I don't look at phones when I read at night. I feel like my brain shuts off better. I think that's science. um, and so I'm going to wrap up because I do think I've covered the points that I want to cover. But all of this is meant to be an encouragement. I just want to wrap that in a bow. Wrap this whole conversation in that neat bow of be encouraged that there are other people out there who feel the same way as you. I felt that way not too long ago where I wanted to get back into reading and I was struggling to do so. Don't make it harder than it needs to be and make it an enjoying process. And enjoying, that's not how you say that. Make it an enjoyment in your life. Don't make it a chore. Uh, and just read what you want. If you're reading, that's all that matters. It's a good thing. So, trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I don't think so. I think I've covered all my points. So, I hope that this video has been beneficial to you. I hope that you find some books that you love, and hope to see you back on the channel soon. Thanks for watching.